welcome everyone, first of all. And one of the things I want to mention is, the people who are new to circles, number one, welcome and thanks for being here so much. And two, if you ever want to speak or if you ever want to share, like, please feel free. One of the things I always want to make sure that you feel is very comfortable, and you want to feel, make sure that you guys have, a free space to make sure that you feel heard. So if you want to take this time and like let us know why you're here or how we can help or how we can support you, like take this time for sure. Raise your hand. Let us hear your story real quick. Maybe people that are in the room, people who have been here before can share their story or give you some support. But I see Stacy's hands up, so I just want to make sure I acknowledge her. Go ahead, Stacy.
I just wanted to do a quick check-in. I don't want to take up a lot of time because I know there's some new people on here, and to the new people, this is a great room to be in. I landed here back in May on Circles, and so this is would be an absolutely great first-time room for you, and so I'm glad you're here.
Real quick, Stacy, right before you go, I want to give a disclaimer, folks, because this one is masterclass, it is being recorded. Just wanted to let you out. All the other rooms are generally not recorded, but the masterclasses, whenever you see masterclass, these are actually recorded, and then they're made available on Spotify. So just saying that before anybody starts sharing too much that you don't want the world to hear. All right. All right. Just wanted to throw that in before. Go ahead, Stacy.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, so, I had a relationship off and on for 20 years and had been in therapy probably back about a decade ago, and talking about the coin term narcissist. It really wasn't very popular back then. And so every time I would bring up some of the issues in therapy and toss that word around, it was kind of minimized. And I think I know we can't diagnose people as narcissists, but we can actually, identify with our relationships and the narcissistic tendencies and things like that. But I guess what for me, just wanted to check in because I have shingles and COVID right now. And so I have been in bed for 4 weeks, and I have had a lot of time to think because I can't move my body, because every time I move my body, my shingles breaks out. So with that being said, in this 20-year relationship, it's been real hard for me this last time because I went no contact for 5 years. And my ex-partner came around and love bombed me, and I fell for it again. And so I've done so much thinking over. I've been no contact since last May, but I've really realized that I've kept myself busy and on the go, and my time filled, that I don't. I guess the grief just really scared me to sit with myself and my feelings about it. And now it's like almost a year later, and I feel like I'm like really, really grieving the loss of this relationship for the first time. But it's different this time for me because I feel I don't know how to explain this. I feel I betrayed myself because I had gone no contact for 5 years. And so one of the things that drew me to this room was the title about going through the phases, because I've had so much time to think and sit down and actually journal, and just moving from that love bombing phase into the moving into that devalue phase, and noticing things, just little things in retrospect that were red flags that I didn't pick up on, and just small things. And I just, from the get-go, they were there. And so I just sometimes I'm just sitting here and I'm just in awe with myself. And I won't go into the details because I just wanted to check in. But that's kind of where I'm at. And so I just am telling myself that maybe I needed this time to actually grieve and sit with myself and hopefully, because you think you've moved on, and then all of a sudden you drive down a street and it hits you all over again, and then you're just back. And I guess what I'm struggling with is the trauma bond, because in all of this grieving, I am still trauma bonded, and I don't understand why. But I'm going to stop because I know y'all have a lot to present.
Honey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever lost someone that you love so deeply?
No, I haven't.
Like, no one, not a parent, not a friend that's died?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've lost my mom, but it's a different type of grieving for me.
Okay, so hold on, let me just stop you right there. So have you ever thought about, like, Mother's Day or her birthday, like where you've thought about her and you've cried and you've thought, like, wow, it's been so long, like I'm crying and I'm missing my mom?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how I just want to try and reframe this for you and put it into different perspective. You love a person and you miss a person. So why is it so different when you're missing this person? You know what I mean? So when you love. And when that person's gone, you're still going to miss that person.
Yeah.
But in our brain, like, so people who are in my rooms, if you're in my room or you're in my private practice or in my private practice rooms, you know that I say we have our rational brain and we have our emotional heart, right? And that's where they kind of collide. And you hear me talk about Guy Winch, and I use his emotional first aid a lot. And we talk about why it's so hard for us to have this disconnect. Why can't we separate this when we have a person who means so much to us in an emotional kind of love, versus like a mom or a dad or aunt or an uncle who we love, and when we think about that love, why is it so different for us? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess for me, and I'm listening to you reframe it, and it's okay for me to lean into being okay with missing this person. I guess kind of it's like beating myself up for missing this person. So I see what you're saying. It's kind of like an internal conflict that is.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was going to ask Stacy, like, do you see the reason for the reframe? Do you see why she's having you reframe? It's not just to make you feel better. Do you understand the reasoning behind the reframe? Our heart. Some of you have heard me say before, our hearts don't heal under judgment.
Right.
They need compassion for that. And then two, when you really process it in this way, it's not saying that because I've heard people say several times, especially through grief, when they're grieving different things, and grief is anything, right? It's any kind of loss and change, emotional processing that we have to do. And so just like Christine is saying, the reality of it is, if you loved deeply, it doesn't matter whether that person was abusive or non-abusive, or if they were the best thing since sliced bread or not. When you've made a connection to them, it makes sense that you feel the way you feel. So that compassion for yourself has to be there. Otherwise, you'll struggle through actually navigating through completion for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, like I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter whether, like, when we lose someone, whether it's, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a marriage, whether it doesn't matter. It is the death of a marriage, is a death of a relationship. We have to grieve it all the same way. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she said there's 5 stages of grief. Some people say there are 7. Some people say there are 9. Like some people even say there's 10, 15, whoever, have as many stages as you want. You take as many stages as you want, and they do not come in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They don't come in that kind of wave. They come in however you want, and they come in different stages. So I have in my office, I have this, it looks like a shoelace, and it's all tangled. But if you pull on both sides of it, it'll come out in a single string, but it looks so tangled. That is the stages of grief. It is a tangled effing mess. And it is yours. No one's is going to be the same. And it can be tangled every single day. And it is yours. You take it as you go. And when we, especially when we are in a toxic cycle, especially when we are in a narcissistic love bombing cycle, especially when we've been in it for years and the cycle is just repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, and we have been in this and we don't know how to get out, that knot never gets undone. It's like, I had a necklace the other day, and I didn't have my glasses on, and I had to have my friend do it. And she was like, how in the hell did this necklace get this bad? I'm like, I don't know. I just put it in a bag because I was traveling, and I just put it in this little tiny Ziploc bag. And she's like, Christine, she goes, I don't even know how to get this undone. And it took her and her kid like 3 or 4 hours. And I only traveled like 2 hours to get it undone. And she was like, don't ever do this again. And she went and she got me a piece of cardboard, and she's like, put this necklace on this cardboard and like, don't ever do that again. I'm like, I never take this necklace off. Like, I don't even know how this could possibly happen. But this is what I was thinking about, like with the stages of grief. Like, it can get that tangled so fast that we don't even understand how to get it undone. So we need a lot of help. And we shouldn't be afraid to ask for this kind of help, because, I want to go back to what the topic of this segment is about, because narcissists, they can begin to devalue their partner. They can become so critical, so degrading. They can make people be so distant. This cycle can culminate so fast. That's how this happens. I don't want to get too off topic, but I want to get Katerina real quick, because I can go off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
It's Katara, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
Again,
okay.
I don't have my glasses on.
I just I don't know. I wanted to say something based on what you said, you say handle the grief the same way, but I feel like it's completely separate, because when you have family, you don't choose your family, your significant other you choose. So how do you handle it the same way if it's something completely different? Normally, if you're gonna be with somebody, if you choose to be with somebody like your significant other, you're choosing them over your family. I may be wrong by saying that. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but I'm young and this is brand new to me. So I don't know. How do you handle it the same way if it's something completely different?
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you. Are you telling me that you're not choosing your significant other?
So I fled from a domestic abuse situation, and
Okay.
I am I'm 3 days in, and I'm trying to he's I'm pretty sure he's a narcissist. I can't diagnose him, but he shows a lot of signs, and I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know how to handle, I'm trying to stay away from him, I'm trying to not contact him, and I don't know how to do that. Because you say when you lose somebody who dies, it's the same as it's the same grief, and I don't know. I don't know how to handle it the same.
So what's the same is, so let's give a definition just real quick so that we can all have the same working definition of what grief is. Grief is the natural and normal emotional response to loss and change of any kind. Any kind. So when we're saying that you kind of deal with it the same, it all has to still be processed emotionally. We often try to process it intellectually. All right, with facts and figures of what happened. This person was abusive. This person wasn't. This person was a living person. This person has died, or this person, and it doesn't change. So while that may be factually true, these particular things, it doesn't do much for the heart. And
we
when you're
try to
processing,
overanalyze.
and we try to overanalyze it, and so the emotional processing has to happen, and so that's what we're meaning when you're saying it's quote unquote the same in that sense.
And sweetheart, I will tell you that if you're 3 days in and you're already feeling this, I may want to just suggest that maybe you rethink the situation.
As in rethink what situation, like what I'm doing, like I'm
If
not
you're
sure.
if you're already seeing red flags 3 days in, I just may want to, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm 3 days in from like fleeing from him. Like I've been with him for the past year and 8 months, and I had a child with him, and things got really bad. And 3 days ago, I left the house, and now I'm like staying somewhere, and yeah, I had to leave the relationship because it got
Okay, so you're
dangerous.
3 days gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so I mean so stay strong. And I understand that, you know, there's parts of you that are going to want to go back, and I understand that there's parts of you that want to be, you know, with your child's father. I understand that. But, you know, one of the things I always tell people are that actions are always going to be stronger than words. Like, your actions are always going to speak louder than your words. So if someone's going to want to try to prove something to you, let their actions speak louder. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Angie.
Hi. I just wanted to say, like, what's the name? Katera.
Katera.
I am 4. I don't know. Within the week, it was February 12th, February 13th. You know, and he dumped me. He told me he didn't want anything to do with me. He, you know, being single was better than being with a greedy person like me, and like all these terrible things. And even now, I'm like, how was it my fault? Like, I wasn't blameless. You know, I did hide things, which, you know, I lied about things that I thought were benign, but, you know, you're still lying. And so I'm feeling doubtful. Like, I told him I wouldn't contact him again, but I want to reach out. You know, I want to text his dad and like tell him my side of the story, like all these things. And I went into our message history, and I don't know what I was looking for, but I stumbled upon some of the mean things he was saying, you know, and it triggered me all over again. Like, this, it's not, it wasn't about me omitting benign things. I mean, he was just a mean person, and I want to believe that it was just like circumstantial, and that if I go back, if I could just convince him to come back, it'll get better. So I'm right there with you, Katera. If he messaged me tomorrow and asked for another chance, I'm ashamed to say I'd say yes, but hopefully he stays away.
So, guys, I mean, I feel like there's no shame in wanting to have someone back in our lives. Okay, so there's a difference in I feel anyway, in saying that we should be shamed, right? I don't like that term. You know, we love who we love, and I don't think there's any shame in that. So I don't want the people here to be like, oh, I feel shameful for that. You know, we love who we love. Okay. What I think is the most important part is that we have to love ourselves more. Okay. You know, I can love you, but I have to love me more. And I think that's the part that we have to be really focused on. the duration of, this love bombing phase, this phase that that we're in, has several factors, and I'm going to call a spade every day. Everyone who knows me, who has been in my groups, who knows me, is going to know that I will speak the truth every single minute. People who do this stuff to us do it to us because we are empathic. They do it to us because they know that we will come back to them every single time. And it's not because we are suckers. It's not because we're weak. It's because we love the way we love. I see a lot of hands, but I just want to make sure that I call on, I think, Katera, I think your hand's still up from last time. So, Don, go ahead.
Yeah. So I came in this room, right? Because I'm really trying to understand, this way of being, right? This narcissistic way of being. And I'm coming in not because I don't think I have a similar story as anybody else, in the sense that I've, witnessed someone else being narcissistic and therefore affecting my life per se, right? But as a person that I think I've had, these narcissistic tendencies, right? And, even just the title itself, I had to look at the definition of this room: idealize, devalue, and discard. And, it made me think, that, was that me? And a part of me does feel like, yes, that was me. When I think about, like, just my past in my marriage, having to be the decision maker, having these stresses in life, and being with someone who, basically, in a nutshell, just would not communicate, would not, and this is not like, I'm no longer frustrated at that, which I very much was for many years, that I couldn't get the feedback that I felt that I needed from my partner. Therefore, creating this frustration of making decisions on my own, when I do know myself that I'm indecisive in many ways. And so not having that created frustration. It created words. It created hurt. And yeah, so, I'm here, sort of wanting to learn and listen, and, just doing the practice. I just left Czar's room. We talked about doing the work, not only when tragedies happen, but doing the work to make sure for our future selves that we arrive correctly. And, I'm here now, listening with that intent, at least to really understand this.
Well, I have to tell you that I love that you're here. I mean, I've been doing this for a good part of 20 years. And I don't always have a lot of people who come to me and say that I want to learn, and then I kind of want to know more about this, and if I'm hearing you correctly, that I need help. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
I think it's interesting too, Christine, that we haven't had many people come to say, hey, let me learn about this. I mean, and really learn about it, and not just want to learn about it from a victim side, but want to learn about it to see if, because I really genuinely believe, and this is probably why in the beginning Drea was making the statement of what she said, because we do kind of throw around the term narcissist. And so a lot of times people are like, oh, I never even heard that word. I had never even heard that word until XYZ, or until something went down. And then so there's a group of people who I've found trying to learn what it is. I've had several men say to me, what is this narcissist term that's being thrown around, because they've been accused of being one. And so sometimes what I think is lost is, because someone shows a tendency, I think we all have narcissistic tendencies, which in some senses could just be an inability to relate well, and an inability to not be so self-centered in and on ourselves. And so a lot of the gentlemen that I have seen come and actually ask me about it were not narcissists at all.
Yeah.
but they had been labeled it because something didn't go right in the relationship that they had, or they showed up a certain way, and it wasn't even coming from a, you know, a negative. So I'm with you with Donna. Like, I like hearing somebody say, "Hey, let me explain this to me. What is this? What's going on?"
Yeah, listen, I lived in Alaska during COVID, and no one even knew what a narcissist was. I mean, I did it because I was in this field, but no one knew. And I moved from Alaska to California, and California was full of narcissists. And I got to California, like no, literally,
I'm
when I
moving.
got to Alaska, knew what it was. There was none, like none. And I moved to California, and they were everywhere, even during COVID.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different world, I think, on this side, because I'm from the Midwest, and I joke sometimes. I live in Las Vegas now, but I've always joked, it's like the people from the West seem very different. And this is not to say that, you know, it feels more individualistic in the Western area to me, you know, and obviously, folks, I know that's a bias, you know, of me saying it, but it's like coming from the environment that I've come from. When I moved west, it felt very transactional, like
Yeah,
relationships just in general felt very transactional, very surface, and sort of very
I,
individualistic.
I've lived in 12 different states, and
Mm,
I can tell you that yes, it's absolutely
mm,
true. Like
mm.
I live in a place right now where I don't even think that people know what narcissism is. Where right now, I really don't.
Mm.
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to also be clear that, yeah, this isn't just like I'm just here and just, oh, let me just take notes and that sort of thing. I'm really kind of deeply trying to figure out for myself, how far did I really dip into this narcissistic behavior that possibly could affected my life tremendously, and also really wanting to understand it so that in the future, because I have two daughters, and sometimes I relate to narcissism as being, you know, to say the least, I guess, is overbearing to many hearts and that sort of thing, right? Um, so, you know, I'm wanting to, you know, walk through this so that in the future, I'm very much, you know, aware of this. And just, you know, when I was in college, you know, I took Greek mythology, by the way, and, you know, one of my favorite Greek, you know, stories was about Narcissist and the art from Salvador Dali and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's really fascinating how it, you know, and the psychology of it and stuff. So,
Mhm. Yeah. I just love this. I love that we're doing this session only because, like, with what you just said, Donald, really wanting to see how far I've dipped into it, because we're okay saying we dipped into codependence. We're okay saying that we were people pleasers. We're okay, but not many people will say, "Hey, have I dipped over into narcissism?"
And
So
you know
that's
what?
just, I'm excited about it. Go ahead, Christine.
No, I think that's funny. Not funny, haha. But narcissism was actually first identified in I think it was 18. If I might get my numbers right, 1898.
18. Yeah.
Since he's talking about like Greek mythology, from the god of it was a vanity because he became obsessed with his reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a mental disorder. And the mental disorder of narcissism is named after the Greek myth of Narcissus, Narcissus,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny.
Yeah.
But I think Zara, you were talking about how we all have tendencies to be narcissistic, and we do, because if you think about like what it takes for a clinician to label someone or to diagnose someone to be a narcissist, we have to go through a whole thing through the DSM, and you have to be clinically diagnosed to meet a specific number,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
and we have to say you have to meet this specific criteria. And guess what? We all meet a very certain some of them.
Yes.
We all want to be the best that we can be. We all want to, like, there's a lot of things about every single person, like all of us, like we want to be the best. We want to think that we're the best. We want to think that, we want to associate that we're the best people that we can be. There's a lot of things about us that are traits that are narcissistic. And so I actually believe that a lot of us have traits that are narcissistic. And so I always tell people, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit of narcissistic. There's something wrong if we are narcissistic. So I just want to make sure that I make that very clear, because I think that there's a lot of times that we can kind of, I don't know, confuse those two things.
Yeah.
So I want to get to Patrice real quick. I feel like she's had her hand up for a while.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
All right.
Yeah, I resonate with Don. I heard the word maybe 6 months before I joined Circles, about 3 months ago. And I saw these rooms. I was like, let me jump in and hear what they say about a narcissist. And then one day I was like, and I always heard women say that men are. Never really, until I joined Circles, I heard men say that they've had, they were in relationships with a woman that was a narcissist. So I was like, okay, let me think about myself. Let me look at these traits and start looking at these traits to see if my husband has them. Let me see if I have any. And then I looked and I'm like, ooh, 2 or 3, oh, you in there. So when I saw that, I was like, wow. So
Right, exactly.
a little bit more empathetic toward his traits, because at the end of the day, it all comes from trauma. And I've had extreme trauma, and he has as well, and I'm sure a lot of us have. So at some point in time, like you said, Christine, we have the traits. It's there. But we do need to recognize the traits and try to change them if we can. I've heard of full-blown narcissists don't even want him. It's impossible to help them. I find it hard to understand that they can change as well, because I am a woman of God. I feel like I can help people anyone if they want to be really truly healed. But by all of us being imperfect, believe me, we have the traits, and just try to not, if you notice them, just try to change that part about yourself so that you can better yourself, so that you don't carry that for the rest of your life in and out of relationships.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Angie.
Yeah, I agree about the narcissism spectrum. I try not to talk about my person as a narcissist, because I don't think there's a personality disorder, but I think he is very much self-centered. And being in that relationship, they say, oh, you're self-centered, you're greedy, you're a narcissist, and so you start thinking, am I a narcissist? And it took a long time, because I even admitted, I was like, yeah, we're both narcissists. Go figure, the universe puts 2 narcissists together. No wonder we're having a hard time, right? But then I realized, when I'm doing something that he thinks is wrong, like co-parenting with my ex-husband, I start getting anxiety shakes, and I just feel really traumatized. Oh my God, I can't be here for longer than 30 minutes. I need to get and I'd have those body responses. But I know for a fact that if he were doing something that I didn't like, he could not care less. And that's when I realized, oh wow, I'm not the narcissist, because if I was, I would be giving him distress when he was doing things that I thought were wrong.
Can you explain that a little bit more about what you think you were doing wrong?
Well, for me, there were 3 main things that he picked up on, and I knew the worst part about my experience is that I knew what was happening. I saw the signs up front, and I just walked in with open eyes, because I thought, as long as I'm aware, I'm okay. That's not true. And so what he said was okay, I left my ex-husband for him. And so he was there when I first moved out, and just through the entire process. And he was always saying, you haven't processed a divorce. There's not enough space between you two. You're contacting him too much. You're spending too much time. So that was the thing. He didn't realize there's a difference between being back with my ex and just trying to have a healthy co-parenting relationship. And, at first I thought, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I do need to have a little bit more space. I've never done this. I've been married for 17 years. I don't know what I'm doing. So I started to listen to him then. But then it became, oh, you had lunch with this male colleague and you told him that you were divorced. That means that you're trying to get with that person, or you're doing this and this person's a guy, like you're trying to get with these people. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Am I trying to get back with my ex, or am I trying to just sleep with everyone around? Like, something's not making sense. And then he started pointing like, well, every time we go to a restaurant, you have a glass of wine. That means that you're an alcoholic. So why don't you want to stop that? Don't you want to be healthy? If you want to have my kids, I don't want to have kids with an alcoholic. So there was those things where I'm like, I'd go out to a restaurant with my friends and they'd get a drink and I'd start to like feel weird. Like I shouldn't be drinking now, even though I know for a fact that I do not have a problem with substance abuse. But the way that he nitpicked, like I just had these responses. But if I was like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you sleeping over at your ex-fiance's house overnight, he would do it without blinking an eye.
So when you had something to say, there was a problem, but when he had something to say, there was no problem.
Yeah, it was an argument I couldn't win because, my ex-husband, he drinks more than I'd like. He's a responsible person. He's a kind person, great husband, great father. It just didn't work out between us. And so whenever I tried to tell the boyfriend, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this, his retort was, well, you married an alcoholic, so you have no ground to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
Like
this, so he was the standard for everything, basically. So again, he could do whatever he wanted to do. You just couldn't do whatever you want. There was always some judgment that came along with your way of being versus his way of being.
Exactly. And we had talked about that a lot. Like, you have now set up this situation that I cannot come up with any boundaries, or I can't show my feelings because your retort will always be that I was in a previous relationship with someone who had bad habits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it.
And he tried to walk away. I failed. He tried to leave me. I begged him back. So yeah, knowing that it was emotionally abusive didn't help me get away.
Gotcha.
Wow, guys, we're going deep tonight.
Yeah. I keep hearing a common theme too, that there's a blame that everyone seems to be carrying.
There is a blame.
A blame that, yeah. Mm.
So I want to ask. Actually, I want to just go into part of the topic. Is this, instead of going into blame, I want to call it what it is. It's this devaluation.
Yeah.
But I want to ask Deborah. I want to see her hands. Go ahead, Deborah.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Deborah.
I just want to tell Angie that I felt her in everything. It's like she's like saying what I'm going through, but it's like in a different. So I can literally, like, I understand everything you're trying to say, even the ones that you're not trying to say, because I'm in the same exact situation with the person I'm with right now. Because like when I left my ex, because I moved from Africa to America by myself in 2016, so I don't have no friends and family here. So the person I first got with, we was only together for 2 years. It wasn't really a bad person, but it wasn't a good relationship. So I got divorced and everything, and I got with the person I'm with now, and it was like a total different relationship. In the beginning, it was exciting. He introduced me to all his friends, all his family. He's helping me out. Like, he gave me more exposure to the country that I've ever had with my ex-fiance. Like, it was great. So we was in a relationship. I moved there with him. We started living together. We have a child together. Our son is 16 months old now. So we still live together, and that's how crazy. Like we still live together, but we in like the worst I'm in the worst situation ever. But I feel like I moved on because I just joined the group today, and I'm happy because I'm in a whole lot better place than I was last year. I wish I found this app last year, but I was able to fight through it because I mean I came from a different cultural background and everything. So it's like I know from the very beginning when it started happening that it is not right. But it's like I can't leave because I just left somebody. It's nowhere I can go to. I don't have no families there. I don't have no friends there. I mean, I can't
Mm.
stay. I can cope with it. At least I'm with somebody. I have somebody that I'm around his friends and family and everything. But it got to the situation where the disrespect, the abuse, verbal. It's like when we talk about someone, he's the kind of person where we if I have a problem, it's gonna sympathize or whatever. I mean, or whatever, just say do whatever. But then if he's angry and mad, he's gonna use that against me. Like when you tell him something, he just you like you said, your ex, your boyfriend now talks about oh you was with your alcoholic, but now you're talking like stuff like that. Like he used everything he can see as an error in me that is not really a thing just to say to me, just to put me down and just make me feel like worthless or I'm never gonna find nobody, I'm never gonna be happy. And he always say something whenever I come to him sad or trying to complain or trying to be so he always say, well, life is hard. Everybody is going through problems. You can't expect to be happy. And for a long, at least a year in a relationship, I always think everybody is in America at least is not in a happy. Everybody has a problem going on or whatever. But I'm like, no, I don't think this is right. Like, life is not supposed to be hard. I don't want to live a hard life. I want to be happy, but I can't be happy around this person because he knows I don't have no support system. At least my only support system is through the phone, which are my family in Africa. So I don't have nobody that will come here and like fight for me or do whatever. So he used it against me. When he's trying to feel like this, he be like, well, I'm always gonna be here for you, your family, my family is your family, or whatever. Then come back around when he's mad and be like, well, my family don't like you. These people, I don't really like me.
Mm.
They don't like me because of what you told them. Now it makes me uncomfortable to be around these people that I see is supposed to be my family, but he's telling me they don't like me. And I don't know if they don't really like me, but I haven't done nothing to them. So it's like my whole life last year I wasn't like a box where I'm trying to scream for help. I'm trying to, like one time I called his mom is a problem. Like, oh, you call it whatever you turn. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to take care of you. You here by yourself or whatever, whatever. Then I was like, okay, whatever. I can't even call your family to tell them what is going on between us.
Deborah, I'm
You're
sorry.
go ahead. You like he's gonna spin
No,
it
I'm
around.
sorry. This
You good? You
I'm
got? I
sorry.
mean, I can't talk about it because it's like But the crazy thing is, I have to deal with everything he's doing right, and I can't leave him. My baby last year was a lot young. I have a newborn baby. Like I don't have a family. I don't know how I'm gonna even start taking care of a baby all by myself. I mean, it's still. I just felt like I can still survive. I want to leave. I gotta leave. But it's like when he's trying to be nice, when he wants to be good, he's gonna do it so perfect and make me seem like it's good. But when it's time for him to go back, and he loves to cheat with his exes. Like everybody he cheats with are people that he's dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe they like felt they have that connection to that they can't leave him or whatever because they've been like relationships to whatever. It's like he just always knows how to like connect back to his exes or whatever. And it always hurt. Like it's like I don't want to be around somebody that puts me down every time that tells me before I met this person, I had my own everything. I have my house, I have a car, I have a business. It's like I wasn't nothing. But all through last year, everything about my life just started falling apart. Everything just started happening all of it like at once. My grandma passed. I couldn't grieve. My businesses, I can't really go to work as much because I just have a baby. And it's like I'm not even in a happy space. I start losing clients. And it's like all that stuff, instead of him encouraging me, he started talking, well, you would never make it without me. You don't even have clients. You don't even have this. You don't even have that. You don't. It's
So
like,
here
I don't have it. I'm listening.
so here's the thing. I mean, this is very typical. I mean, this is very typical narcissist behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, they are critical, dismissive, emotionally, verbally abusive.
Yep.
This is very,
Yep.
very typical. You know,
Yep.
they are
And
these are manipulative tactics.
yep.
That's gaslighting.
And it's like I
I'm
saw
hearing
something online. Somebody said when your actions, when your words doesn't match your actions, it is manipulations, and he does that a lot. Like when he wants me, when he's trying to make me,
yeah.
because he knows I can easily be. I'm a nice person, so he can easily come in, even though he's done something and just do something, whatever. And I'm just like whatever. I don't want to be in a bed. I don't want everything to be. I don't want to be mad. But to him, when he's mad, he stands on being mad for whatever, as
So,
long as he want to be mad for.
mhm. So let me ask this question really quick though.
Okay.
Is this the pattern that you've seen with him?
Yeah, it's like
Is
it happens.
oh wait. That's the
Okay.
pattern that you've seen with him.
Okay.
Your only reason for still being there is because you have nowhere else to go.
Yep. That's my only. But I'm in a place right now where I'm scared to leave because I feel like I don't have nobody. Because when we first started dating, all my friends that I had, he had something bad about everybody that I couldn't
Okay.
continue my friendship with people. So it's
Hmm.
like everybody I know is just him and his family or his friends that he tells me every time they don't like me, and for some
Because
reason
I
I
hear
don't know
that.
because
why.
that's his that's
That's his
his MO.
tactic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I know that, but it's like it hurts because it's like these people are supposed to be my family. I loved you as my family. I trusted you. So it's like now I'm just in a scared space where I feel like I'm just scared to just even find because I don't know nobody here. So it's like I don't want
What does it take?
to.
What does it take for you to overcome the fear?
I don't know because
Because guess what? Guess what'll happen? We'll continue to hear 95% of what he's done and what he's doing and
yeah,
what he's going to do because from what you're saying, that's the pattern.
yeah, that's the pattern.
Is that 95% not big enough for an overcoming of the fear?
I mean, I, I feel like I'm so used to is actually like I know how to like deal with it. Like when he's mad,
Mhm.
I know how to like now, at least for the past 3 months, I know how to make myself happy now. Usually it breaks me down a lot, like I can't do anything. But now it's like when he start doing his thing, I know how to just be happy and just be good. At least go to the
But
gym.
you need to make the change.
I just don't
You
want to.
need
I feel like I just I I don't like people
Okay,
because
so I want you
everybody.
to hear this. I want you to hear this, and it's going to sound very hard. You're giving us the I parts. I'm afraid. I don't like people. So it sounds like you know what to do, but you're stuck in the complaint of him, which at this point, it has nothing to do with him anymore. You already know what you're dealing with when it comes to him.
Yeah.
So now we
What?
have to shift and figure out what to
What?
do in you so
Yeah.
that you can do what you need to do.
right. It
Yeah.
has to start being an I
Yeah.
statement. I
Yeah.
need, I want, I expect.
Yeah.
So
I
It's
mean,
sad you're having that
I
experience, but
change.
I know exactly what I need to do. It's like I just have to be away from because when I'm not around, even like now, my birthday was 2 days ago. His birthday is today.
what do you need to do? Nope, I'm going to stop you from the stories. What do you need to do?
I just gotta move.
There you
Okay.
go. Do it.
I but yeah, I know. I'm just trying to let Angie know that I can relate to her story, real personal. Like it's crazy
I
what they
want us
do.
to start relating in ways that says I relate to you that I've gone through the same thing.
Yeah.
But I want us also to learn how to start relating with each other through victory. I want to relate with you on how we actually shift what's going on within us so that we recognize when we're in a cycle, like the love bombing cycle. We recognize when we're being devalued, as Christine was saying, or there's devaluing that's going on because we start to do it to ourselves as well. When we
Deborah, where do
say
you
that
live?
it's too, yeah, when we say it's too hard, when we say that I'm afraid, when we say we don't realize it to some degree, and I'm saying this with compassion, though, please
Mm-hmm.
hear it that way.
Yeah,
We devalue ourselves.
that's true.
And that's why I
Deborah,
said, is the 95% not enough for you to tap into your worth and say, although I don't like to have to do this, but this is what I'm going to have to do in order to
It's just the things that they
live.
say. Like it's like nobody's gonna want you. You have a child.
honey,
Nobody's gonna do this.
honey,
It's like
where do you live?
I live in Maryland,
What part of Maryland?
Baltimore.
What part?
Baltimore County.
Where at? I lived there. Where at?
Oh, you live in Baltimore County? I live in White Marsh.
Okay, so I so I ran both prisons in Baltimore. What part of Baltimore do you live?
White Marsh is like yeah, Baltimore County, like White Marsh area.
So I'm very familiar, and I know there's several women's places there that I can get you in.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I would appreciate it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Make
would
sure
appreciate
make
it.
sure you contact
Yes.
Christine right after this.
I will
Deborah,
contact you, Christine. Thank you.
Deborah, I'm going to
Yeah.
give you my phone number.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to you now.
Okay.
I don't answer it. You can text me. It's 510.
Okay, give me 1 second. 510, I got it.
982
92.
982
Okay, 982. Okay.
6005.
6,000.
I know a lot of the women's shelters
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I can try and get you in.
Okay, I'm gonna
But
text
you
you.
are not helpless. You are not alone.
Okay.
Okay, and you're just you just can't give up. Okay.
I'm just scared. I mean, I know I can't.
Listen,
I
you're
know I can't.
hey, you're allowed to be scared. You're allowed to be scared.
Like, I'm so scared of people scare me. Just I don't want to be hurt because I feel like I'm healing and I just don't want nobody to hurt me again.
And I don't want anyone to hurt you either. But listen, I need to get to a next session, but I want to read something to you. I do this before I leave most of my groups. This is something that I really love. This is something that I feel like we do not have all the time, that we forget that we deserve. These are our basic human rights. I got a copy of this when I was in my doctorate program way back. I have the right to my own needs and feelings and have them be as important as anyone else's. I have the right to experience my feelings and to express them if I choose. I have the right to express my opinions. I have the right to decide what my priorities are. I have the right to be independent if I choose to be. I have the right to be independent if I want to be. I have the right to decide how I spend my time. I have the right to choose how I live my life. I have the right to change myself, my behavior, my values, my life situation, and my life. I have the right to change my mind. I have the right to make mistakes. I have the right to develop and express my talents and my interests. I have the right to choose who I share my time with. I have the right to choose who I share my body with. I have the right to be treated with dignity and respect by everyone who I come in contact with. I have the right to be listened to respectfully. I have the right to ask for what I want. I have the right to say, I don't know. I have the right to say, I don't care. I have the right to say, I don't know. I have the right to set limits and boundaries. I have the right to set limits on how I will be treated by other people. I have the right to walk away from a relationship that I do not feel is good for me or healthy for me. I have the right to have my boundaries respected. I have the right to have these basic rights, and I have the right to stand up for them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with me and for being here with Czar. Thank you so much, Czar.
Thank you,
I
Christine.
appreciate you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
We go where y'all go. Where you all go with this, and obviously that some of that needed to come out for some of you.
So I hope I can do this again with you. I hope I have the opportunity
Absolutely.
to do this.
Yes, for sure. We love, and then because I would love to get into actually where we can recognize these idealizing and these evaluating and and all this, so that we're aware, you all, whether it's in ourselves or whether it's in those around us, because the overall goal is for all of us to be healthy and for all of us to be whole. All right. And so let's thank Christine. That was Deborah talking, right? That was Deborah. And then
Yes.
okay, Katera's hands up. Is it really quick, Katera?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Deborah, I'm really like right there with you. I'm only 21 years old and I have 2 kids, but I did leave him and I currently don't have anywhere to go, but you can do this. You got this. You can do it. That's all I
Thank you,
want to say.
Katara.
You can do it. I
Awesome.
believe in you. You're able to do it.
Awesome. Let's give each other a hug, everybody in the room. Y'all know how we just light up the screen. And again, once again, let's thank Christine. We want to respect her time so that she can get to her next appointment. And Christine, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for this room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, folks. All right, people. Listen, y'all go do what y'all do on Friday afternoons and be good. And if you can't be good, y'all know what I say. Be good at it. All right.
Thanks, Zara. I look forward to doing this with you again.
Likewise. I want to get into it.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. See you, everybody. All right. Peace. Have a good weekend if I don't talk to some of you later in some groups. Peace.